All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. I hope you're doing well. So, folks, today is the day that very few people were waiting for. We have an update on the Ghislaine Maxwell infamous deposition that's been sealed and unsealed and supposedly coming out for so long that it's become totally absurd. A lot has happened this week regarding it. 2 days ago, on Monday of this week, an appeals court, it's gone all the way to an appeals court. Remember, we haven't even gotten to trial. This is just pre-trial stuff, and already we're having an appeals court rule on something. So hopefully that's not nightmarish foreshadowing for the whole thing. But this deposition, which most of you probably know, is a 400 page, like 7 hour deposition that Ghislaine did in 2015 or 16 as part of a lawsuit between Virginia Roberts and her. Months ago, they said, okay, this thing is going to come out, and then it would be, they're like, it's going to be unsealed, and then it would be, no, delay, we can't unseal it yet, and then there was a whole phase where all of the John Does in it, they were saying, well, you can't just name all these people. They don't want to be a part of a child sex trafficking disaster. That will make it hard for them going forward for their life. And they don't want that. And so then there was a whole phase of reaching out to all of the John Does, being like, okay, here's your deadline. I think it was September 15th, so that's already a month ago. You have until this deadline to write in why you should not appear in this deposition that's going to be unsealed. And so then you got to think how much it fractured after that. You got to think all the lawyers for the white-haired politicians and, powerful dudes that thought there's no way this would ever come back around. They thought it was a thing of the past. The conga line on the Lolita Express. Please don't come back and haunt me. And so now all their lawyers, you got to think, were writing in. And so Judge Preska is going through all of that, and it just has been a completely absurd process. And then like I said, 2 days ago on Monday of this week, an appeals court said they're coming out. They will be unsealed. And so that was Monday. And then early yesterday on Tuesday, like 9 in the morning or something, Judge Preska came out and said, all right, you saw what the appeals court said. Prepare for the unsealing. And then right after that, a lot of filings yesterday. It was a filing fiesta. And then so after the judge said that, then Virginia Roberts people, which I guess they're in possession of some or all of these unsealed documents, said, all right, well, we're going to start doing it. We're going to post them and then have them be filed in, and we'll get the process started, right? The appeals court said we're good, and then the judge said, all right, prepare for the unsealing. Well, then Ghislaine's team shot in a hold the presses filing that said, hey, let's not rush anything. A lot of these John Does don't want to be mentioned. Would you? We're worried. You don't want to rush it. Let's don't go. And then the Judge Preska, made a comment after that, like, all right, we're going to talk about this. There's another filing, but tomorrow, which is October 22nd at 9 a.m., Thursday, October 22nd at 9 a.m., unless something crazy happens today on Wednesday, they will come out, or at least, yes, I guess that's how I understand it. They will be unsealed, or a portion of them. I'm sure something will happen today, some filing that will delay it more. Wouldn't that be crazy? So, they're coming out. Well, what does that mean? The big reason everybody was excited about these was because of the names that are possibly going to be named, the John Does. And back when this thing was really going, I feel like I was like, yeah, let's name them, the John Does. It's going to be this big thing. And then I saw enough personally people come up, like Alan Dershowitz and other people that are named, and just to see how they handle it, where they just go, yeah, I don't know, she's a lying prostitute. I don't remember it. I don't remember her. She is a lying prostitute, though. And yeah, I don't remember. It didn't happen. And so even when the names come out, if that's the only thing that it requires is just going, it's not even a big of a deal, the names that will be maybe named. But pushing that aside, it still is interesting if they are so scared that for this to come out. Maybe it is something. But the Preska ruled yesterday in like the last minute thing. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Preska. The appeals court ruled that, so it's like, in that legal, complicated type, but it's saying pretty much all non-parties will be excluded. Their names will stay as John Doe, and all identifying information for non-parties and all family information for non-parties. And it's like a paragraph that says the word non-parties so many times I went cross-eyed for 2 hours. And so what's important about that little paragraph, and what I think is causing all the speculation today, is sounds like, unless something crazy happens, the documents are coming out tomorrow at 9 a.m. or some of them, or who knows. But now the definition of non-party becomes very important. What does that mean? Is it just going to be all of the John Doe stay as John Doe other than Epstein, Maxwell, and Roberts? Are those the only party? And so all of a sudden, the definition of non-parties is important when it comes to these John Does that may or may not be named. So, in summary, the big update is on 2 days ago, on Monday, an appeals court said they ruled against Maxwell and said they're coming out. And then there was a filing fiesta yesterday saying, let's wait. And then Virginia Roberts people being like, let's just go. I think we're ready to go. And it's like, no, the John Does are a little bit worried. And so, like I said, tomorrow at 9 a.m., we will see what happens. Another Ghislaine Maxwell update since the last time I talked about her is she brought on a new lawyer to the team. There's a new sheriff in town, and the new lawyer's name is Bobby Sternheim. And she is described on the law firm's website as Bobby Sternheim is a super lawyer who has tried death-eligible cases for organized crime. Death-eligible. I've never heard that. Usually eligible is kind of a positive word, like you want to hear it in regards to your situation, like, oh, I'm eligible. All right. Oh, you're eligible. Congratulations. But when it comes to the death, you don't want to be eligible. When the subject on the table is death, you don't want someone in a suit to be like, you're eligible. And so she's a super lawyer. Not sure what that means. A super lawyer. Maybe she comes like when she's getting to court, she has like a nice pantsuit on, and then right before she goes into a phone booth and then changes into a slightly crisper pantsuit. Super lawyer. Okay, so she's described as she's tried death-eligible cases of organized crime, international terrorism, capital murder, as well as civil cases against the U.S. Bureau of Prisons and the Mission of Saudi Arabia. God knows what that means. I looked up the international terrorism case that she worked on, and it was a man that was described as a henchman of Osama bin Laden, and in 1998, he blew up an embassy, killing 224 people. It's not cool. And then there was a New York Post article, I think. I looked up that where this lawyer, the super lawyer, talked about, so her client blew up the embassy in 1998, and then there's a big story where they extradited him for trial from London to New York City, and she has a famous line where, and then it took a while, so he blew up the embassy in 1998. By the time they brought him in New York, it was after 9/11 in 2001, and she's famous for saying something like, if, to bring him to trial, talking about the terrorist, to bring him to trial a number of feet from the Twin Towers will ensure that he won't get a fair trial, saying, I guess, that he should have been left in England or tried somewhere else, but to bring him to lower Manhattan, right where the Twin Towers used to be, I guess she said ensures him that he wouldn't get a fair trial. So now that's when you know it's bad, when Ghislaine Maxwell's like, hire the terrorism lawyer. So now she's had international terrorism, capital murder, death-eligible organized crime, and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's not a list you want to end up on. So let me see. Do I got anything else on old Ghislaine? So in theory, or in summary, people, we'll see what happens at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Will it be unsealed? Will it be resealed or delayed sealed? Or God knows what could happen. At the end of this, I wanted to talk very quickly. A couple videos ago, I dissected the Chris Watts prison phone call between his new girlfriend thing and a private investigator. People had commented on my video. Enough people had commented that I wanted to comment on it, that they didn't think it was Chris Watts. They were like, it didn't sound like him. He didn't say like every 2 seconds. I think it was faked. And I personally do not think it was faked. I'm pretty sure, very sure actually, that it wasn't faked. One being that if you were to fake it, say me and a couple people, or a couple people were like, yeah, there's so much interest in the Watts case, let's do a fake call, we'll make it sound like a prison phone call, everybody will be tricked, it'll be great, or whatever people that like to do stuff like that would think. If that's true, there's no way in the world that they would write the script for the phone call what actually was said. You just can't. It was two morons with Chris and the private investigator talking to each other, and it's more like, the truth is stranger than fiction type of thing. You would never write like, okay, what would the PI say to Chris first? You'd never write the whole like, tell me what's on your heart. Tell me. I don't want to monopolize the conversation. And also, Chris, someone had commented that I thought was pretty interesting and good. They said, it sounds like Chris is getting his prison accent. I mean, there's definitely an accent and a way of talking in prison. And that's all Chris has these days. Think of all the places you've been and the people you've talked to since he went in there a couple years ago, and it's his whole situation since. And also, he has zero personality, so you got to think he probably soaks up his surroundings and accents and stuff more than a lot of people. And what really sealed it for me that it was him is when he goes, I just want to get out of here. That, to me, was very Chris, to the point where if someone did fake it, they're really talented at impressions and stuff, because he was going on about how he's an old case expert now. I research cases in the case library, and I'm going for the wow factor. He's looking for the wow factor. He's looking to frame it right, but he doesn't want to rush it. And then he pauses because, talking about the wow factor is comes off as pretty stupid. And then he just goes, I just want to get out of here. And that, to me, was very the way that Chris Watts talks. It's like, if they're not safe, he kind of does this like, I just want to get out of here. I just want them to come home. I just want them to be safe. I just want to get out of here. So I really thought that sounded like him. And then on top of it, if people were going to fake it, I think it would sound really fake. They would try to have Chris say like a million times. And I think it's just prison accent Chris now. And there you go. I think that's all I got, people. I hope you're having a good start to the week. We'll see what happens at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning regarding the documents. Also, I got a couple other ideas for this week that I'm hoping come together for an interesting episode. But anyway, I'm going to cut it off. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Why? Stiving why? Shum.